Hey, how's it going everyone? I'm Stephen with the Hentai Times and welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about the adult tactical RPG called Third Crisis. Now, let's roll straight into that intro.
What the dog doing?
Man, come on now, get that pep off there.
Now, on to Third Crisis. It's a pretty story-heavy based RPG game. It has a lot of elements of, the old reliable turn-based combat thrown in there to spice things up,
I'll just break down your walls.
Don't break down my balls.
as well as give the player a break from the story when you need it. Now, you'll be taking on the role of Jenna, whose nickname is Vibe. Why is her nickname Vibe? Is it because she gives out good vibes? No, it's because she legit has a vibrator built into her. Now, Jenna is a hero who is credited with having saving the world in a world-ending catastrophe called the Second Crisis. When her girlfriend gets kidnapped by some androids under the organization Pytho, and she attempts a rescue attempt, she finds herself 5 years into the future, where the culprits of Karen's kidnapping, Pytho, now control the government and get this, a so-called Third Crisis. What this basically means is that you're on a search and rescue mission for Karen, while making new allies and some enemies in the future world. You gain access to a small town where you can talk to the locals and do some missions for them, and of course this is an adult game, so Jenna has a so-called perversion stat, i.e. you need X amount of perversion to get absolutely fucked. Now, so Third Crisis, from what I can gather, was originally meant to be an Overwatch parody game, God bless them, but as we all know, with the absolute beta males over at Blizzard, when they finally got done being paid to harass their female staff, they decided to bring the hammer of dawn upon pornographic parodies of their games. Due to this outcome and the completely understandable fear of legal trouble, the Sigma developers and Duo Games shaped Third Crisis into its own standalone project. And considering I only realised the backstory of the game upon further research, they have definitely distanced themselves very well. Now, besides the basic story beats, what does the game actually entail? It entails a lot of being told what to do and then doing exactly that until you get the next piece of genuinely good dialogue. But this is my way of telling you that the game is quite linear at the beginning. It gets better in this sense when you have multiple quests or just things you're interested in doing each day. Now, this game features a day and night cycle system where certain things are open and closed at times, as well as some quests. Now, not that it's hard to just change the time at all. All you need to do is sleep at the motel, which is Jenna's home base of operations, featuring its own, pervy, exploitative owner, as most of them do. However, if you have nothing to do in the day and evening and are just looking to pursue a quest at night, for example, early on you need to do a patrol with a character who you meet when you first arrive at the town. His name is Throb. This is totally not in relation to his genitalia after his partner Tiny, which is also not in relation, I swear. Now, Tiny contracts COVID-19 and he's on sick leave. These patrols require you to talk to Throb at night in disguise. All of this is well and good, but remember what I said about having maybe nothing to do in the day and evening? You may get into a cycle of wake up, sleep till night, patrol, back home, sleep, wake up, sleep till night, patrol, etc. You get it. Just some minor tedium is all, and if this is the only quest you're doing at the time, you will definitely see the problem here. But if you're doing other things at the same time, like maybe the town hall or the bar, then you definitely won't see this issue probably. Now, the quests themselves aren't entirely interesting concept, for example the patrols from earlier, but it allows you to get to know characters quite well, like Throb, who himself has a nice heartwarming story of coming to terms with who he is and what he likes. As well as the devs being pretty good at writing heartwarming and interesting dialogue, they tend to throw in some unexpected things as well to keep the player interested and engaged.
My escape for taco crashed.
For God's sake.
Would you dare a 12-year-old?
No.
Aye.
Would you?
So anyway, I'm loading back into the game.
And Jenna herself is also quite endearing, which, is kind of important considering that she's the main character. And I'm 100% certain that the only reason I think this is because of the horrible pun I saw at the very start of the game, which immediately warmed me up to her. And that brings me to the major highlight of the game, which I think is actually just the characters. The characters are very fun to talk to and very fun to play with. It helps that these characters are very different from, the generic horny NPCs that you'll just find in the game. I mean, it is an adult game after all. The reasoning behind this is quite literally that there's some sort of brainwashing going on that's making everyone go through puberty again, I guess. That's the only way that I can think of that everyone is that level of horny. Now, this is also the game's way of writing off Jenna, doing her own private research and her endeavours, if you get what I mean. As this is the game's way of telling him, no, she's not cheating, it's just the brainwashing coming in. Now, gameplay is pretty basic when you're not doing any combat. You're exploring the map, talking to the NPCs, etc. The stuff we all know. It's not too thrilling. But when it comes to the game's combat, you can entirely skip it if you want. A ratchet wrench.
Oh, in front of us, Steven.
I see him.
He doesn't see us.
Stop.
Oh, you fucked him.
Which is actually quite admirable that the developers were just completely willing to just give the player the option to skip a whole part of the game. But I believe you shouldn't, because the combat is actually, like, you know, it's a nice refresher. And if you're playing the game just like bust a fat one, bro, like there's a whole ass gallery, you can just use that, you know. Now the combat itself is actually, like, it's pretty easy to get used to, but I'm gonna be real, if you're not careful, the game will kick your ass. It's pretty generic turn-based combat, but I do like the addition of knockback being used as a mechanic. I've used this to save my ass a few times. Hitting an enemy with either an ability or weapon that does knockback will cause them to get thrown on their ass backwards, and should they hit a wall, it will deal some further bonus damage to them. Being successful in combat comes down to making full use of your abilities and also making sure that you don't get surrounded by using your movement well. Should you get surrounded, it's almost a surefire death. Now onto that part of the video.
Spicy meat. Yeah, boy. That's it.
No, 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 no! Wait, 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 wait! Wait, 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 wait! FBI, open up!
If you can't tell, the art is pretty stellar stuff, and a lot of time has gone into this game's whole aesthetic, which I find very visually pleasing. As this game is being updated constantly, there are some times where you will see placeholders which will hopefully be replaced in the future. As you can tell, there's a huge difference between a finished scene and one with a placeholder on it. And as I mentioned already, the game comes with a gallery where you can view all the scenes again, as well as view your pinups, which are some collectible images that you can find throughout the game world. There genuinely is a bit of something for everybody included in the gallery, as well as some anime head scenes for those who like them. Just be warned, there is also some pretty advanced tastes in there as well.
Are you sure about that?
Now ultimately, Thor Crisis offers an interesting story and well-developed characters, and some refreshing combat to keep you invested. And that's not including the vast side content and cat. You better pet the cat. Now I see that 22.5% that didn't bother. We're going to have some issues. Other than that small issue though, you can find Third Crisis directly on Steam for purchase, through their Patreon page if you'd like to keep up with the devs, and there is also a version of the game that you can play for free, which is where I originally found the game, and that is the browser version, which I believe is 2 versions behind the Patreon version at all times, the Steam version being only 1 version behind. Now you can find the links to all 3 of these options in the description below, as well as the devs Discord should you wish to join in on the community, which I highly recommend. As always, thanks for once again tuning into the Hentai Times. I'm Steven, and I hope to see you again.